Thousands of Hezbollah fighters were injured after a high-tech attack which targeted their pagers. So far, no one has claimed responsibility for the operation.
Meanwhile, Israel is making plans for military action against Hezbollah in Lebanon. CBN's George Thomas reports.
This was the scene across Lebanon Tuesday. Ambulances carrying thousands to hospitals after a deadly attack on Hezbollah operatives. Thousands of pagers detonated in Lebanon after receiving a message, injuring nearly 3,000 people and killing at least 12 people, mostly members of Hezbollah. The terror group blamed Israel for the attacks and promised revenge. The Israelis have made no comment, and the U.S. says it had no prior knowledge of the attack. The pagers reportedly manufactured in Hungary and purchased by Hezbollah after leadership ordered members to get rid of their cell phones for fear they would be tracked by Israeli intelligence.
The Israelis likely saw an opportunity, bought up thousands of pagers, took them apart, inserted explosives, and then put them back on the market to sell directly to Hezbollah. And then using the radio frequencies that normally bring data into that pager, they simultaneously detonated all of the pagers.
Around 3:30 in the afternoon, the devices exploded in Beirut, eastern Lebanon, and parts of Syria. Among the wounded, the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon. The action is a severe blow to the terror group by disrupting its communications and putting hundreds, even thousands of operatives out of action.
At least 9 people are dead and more than 300 others are hurt in a second wave of those device explosions in Lebanon. The blast followed multiple exploding pagers used by Hezbollah yesterday. That blast killing 12 people, including 2 children, and hurting more than 2,800. Israeli officials said they did notify the U.S. they were going to carry out the operation in Lebanon, but did not give any details on what they were planning. And just in the last 30 minutes, we're learning the Israeli defense minister has declared the start of what he is calling a new phase of the war.
For a second day in a row, we are seeing a massive chain of explosions tearing through Lebanon. Yesterday, it was pagers belonging to Hezbollah members that blew up. Today, according to Lebanese state media, it's walkie-talkies. We are seeing these explosions in Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, but also in the south, near the border with Israel, and in the east, in a Hezbollah stronghold known as the Bekaa Valley. Lebanese state media is saying that 9 people were killed in today's explosions. That's on top of the 12 who were killed yesterday. And hospitals are struggling to deal with an influx of more than 3,000 wounded people. Now, Israel's government is refusing to say whether it was responsible for these attacks, but earlier tonight, the Israeli defense minister saying the war has entered a new phase, with troops and equipment shifting from the fight against Hamas in Gaza to the fight against Hezbollah in Lebanon. 2 U.S. officials tell NBC News that Israel was responsible for yesterday's attacks, and it appears that this is a new phase of that ongoing covert operation. The question is, will this cause Hezbollah to back down, or will it provoke it into all-out war? Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
In other news, the Iranian-backed Houthis fired a long-range ballistic missile at Israel yesterday. Prime Minister Netanyahu says the terror group will pay a heavy price for the attack. Chris Mitchell brings us that story from Jerusalem.
The Houthis released footage of the launch they say covered more than 1,200 miles in just over 11 minutes. Parts of it caused minor damage in central Israel after being hit by one of Israel's Arrow interceptor missiles. The Houthis' military spokesman sent Israel a warning.
The Israeli enemy should expect more strikes and upcoming special operations as we approach the first anniversary of the blessed October 7th operation.
At Sunday's cabinet meeting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the Houthis will pay for this attack. Netanyahu pointed out Israel struck a key Yemeni port in July after the Houthis launched a drone that killed 1 and wounded 10 in Tel Aviv. The Israeli Prime Minister is also warning Israeli forces may be about to turn their focus to Hezbollah, one of Iran's key proxies in its war against the Jewish state. The goal of Netanyahu's government is to return some 60,000 Israelis forced out of their homes in the north by nearly daily rocket attacks from Hezbollah.
The current situation will not continue. We will do whatever is necessary to return our residents securely to their homes.
Israeli warplanes are already striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon to weaken the terror group before what could be a full-blown Israeli ground invasion of southern Lebanon. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, this is a significant escalation in military capability from the Houthis. This is a supersonic missile that traveled all the way in just 11 minutes. Now, it was hit by one of Israel's defensive missiles, but if you can see a whole barrage of this kind of technology aimed at Israel and being launched, it could overwhelm their defenses. We need to stand with Israel, but I do question, why are we allowing the Houthis to continue this? We've already heard from our Navy that this is the most engaged, this is the strongest battles they've seen since World War II. Now start thinking about the number of wars in between World War II and today. For the U.S. Navy to be saying that, why are we allowing the Houthis to exist at all? Why aren't we taking out their military capability? They're clearly a proxy for Iran, and they have fired on international shipping. They have fired on U.S. warships. That is an act of war, and why aren't we responding and responding in force?